Good morning, friends. Let's look at our calendar and see what day it is. Here is our lovely calendar. It is the month of May. And let's see what it is. It is Tuesday today. Yesterday was Monday. And tomorrow will be Wednesday. And the date is the 12th. It is the 12th day of May. So let's count our days up to the 12th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I hope you guys got your counting finger, your little pointy finger out quickly, because I forgot to remind you. Do you want to count backwards? Yeah, let's do it. Ready? 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So it is the Tuesday, the 12th day of May, 2020, or 2020. I'll put our Circle Time calendar back there, and I have a story to read. It is actually a little cloudy today, but it's still really pretty outside, and I think it's going to finally start to get warmer. Oh, got something in my eye. Okay, so let's take a look at a story I have for you today. I have my coffee cup, and you should have your milk or your water or your tea or whatever you drink at home. And I'm going to have my coffee and my story. So you ready? All right. This story is called A Tale of Two Beasts. What are beasts? Well, beasts, we think of beasts as being scary animals. So let's see. I see two things on the cover. I see a little girl, and I see an upside down, it looks like a squirrel. Do they look like beasts? No. Well, let's see what this story is all about. It is A Tale of Two Beasts, and it is written by Fiona Roberton. The Tale of Two Beasts. The first part, this is 2 chapters. This is a chapter storybook. The first chapter is called The Strange Beast. Shows a picture of our little girl. I wonder what the strange beast is. I was walking home from Grandma's house through the deep woods when I spied a little beast. He was stuck up in a tree and he was whining sadly. So she's walking home and she sees a little beast, a little animal, and he's upside down in a tree. So I decided I would rescue him. So she picked him up. I will call you Fang, I told him, and I wrapped him in my scarf, and I carried him safely home. Back up there. Does Fang look like he's happy being wrapped up in her scarf? I gave him a bath, and I gave him a gorgeous new hat and a delicious bowl of fresh nuts, and I made him a beautiful house, and I gave him Lord Rex, my stuffed tiger, to play with. So she took the squirrel home, and she put him in the tub, and then she put a hat on him, and she put him in a box with her stuffed tiger. I took him out for walks to keep him nice and fit and healthy. And I showed him to all of my friends who loved him as much as I did. So she put him on a leash and she took him for walks. And she showed him to all of her friends and they crowded around really close. Look at our little friend Fang. Does he look like he's enjoying his time? Or does he look a little scared? But for some strange reason, my little beast did not look happy. In fact, he looked rather hot. I hope he's not sick, I thought. And I opened the window to cool him down, but then something terrible happened. So she opened the window to cool him down. I wonder what's going to happen with the window open. He threw his clothes off and he leapt out the window and he ran away as fast as he could into the dark woods. wanted to go and look for him, but Mama had other plans. It was dinner time, it was bath time, and then it was bedtime. I couldn't sleep. I missed my little beast, and I wondered if I would ever see him again. But then a small, furry shadow appeared at the foot of my bed. The strange little beast had returned. He seemed quite pleased to see me, and I began to think that maybe, just maybe, he wasn't so strange after all. I wonder why he came back. That's the end of the first chapter. That is the last page of our first chapter. So now we're going to start the second chapter of our book. And a chapter is like a section of a book, and it tells part of a story. So we're going to hear the rest of the story. The rest of the story is part 2, or chapter 2. Tale of Two Beasts. It's called The Terrible Beast. And I know our friends don't like terrible things. Let's see what happens. I was hanging from my favorite tree, swinging happily, singing to the birds, when suddenly I was ambushed by a terrible beast. Who's telling this story now? That's right, the squirrel is telling his version of the story. She growled at me. She tied me up, and she carried me off to her secret lair. So see what he thought? He thought she was tying him up and growling at him. And then she took him home, and he thought she was carrying him off. She made me disgustingly clean. She dressed me up in a ridiculous hat and sweater, and she tried to make me eat squirrel food. She kept me in this tiny box with nothing for me to do and nowhere for me to go. And then she made me walk backwards, and then she made me walk forwards, and then she made me walk backwards again, and for no reason at all whatsoever. And then she showed me off to a herd of wild beasts who were just as terrible as she was. This is what the poor squirrel thought was happening. I had had enough. I made a cunning plan, and I put it straight into action. He pretended to get very hot so she would open the window. And as soon as she opened the window, I was free once more. I raced back into the dark woods before the terrible beast could catch me again. It was peaceful in the dark woods. A bit too peaceful, perhaps. And also a bit wet. In weather like this, one could do with a nice warm hat. So I snuck back in to retrieve it under the cover of darkness. So he snuck back into his room to get the hat. The terrible beast was waiting for me. She seemed quite pleased to see me. And I began to think that maybe, just maybe, she wasn't that terrible after all. And that is the end of the story of the terrible beasts. And they really weren't that terrible after all, were they? They just had a different perspective. Perspective is a very important word for us. It's a good word to learn. Perspective is the way that we see things. So I could say, when I look outside and it's a little bit cloudy, I say, those clouds are so beautiful. When my husband looks outside and it's a little bit cloudy, he says, oh, the rain is gonna come. Well, my perspective is different than his. He sees the rain and I see the beautiful cloudy sky, but we both see the same thing, but with a different perspective. So the terrible beasts, the tale of two beasts, they weren't really beasts. They just had a different perspective. That's the end of our story today. We are going to have a Zoom meeting today at 1 o'clock. Now, we had talked a little bit about what we were going to do in Zoom today, and I'm going to change it up a little bit. So what we had talked about was creating some pictures or a little short video or something I could share with our friends that we were doing this week. But it's been kind of a crazy week, and not everybody's had a chance to submit something. So I'm going to give, excuse me, I'm going to give your families a little bit of extra time. And so I'll message your families and I'll let them know what we're looking for, and we'll have a really special Zoom meeting on Friday, and we'll share all of our videos and pictures with each other. I hope you have a great day. It's a little bit cloudy outside, but it's still beautiful. And maybe you can spend a little time outside today. It's going to warm up and I'm going to plant my garden this week. I'm so excited. And I will see you all soon. Mwah! I love you.